Why do this 62 days before Trump takes over when he's already had Zelensky and Putin on the phone and they were talking about a peace deal?
This is a very serious matter, and you're not overreaching in your comments by any means. I think there are a couple of things that Americans should think about right now. The first is that this is a blatant attempt by President Biden's administration, and I say administration because, frankly, I don't think President Biden is aware of everything.
Agreed.
I haven't thought that that was the case for a long time, but the people behind him, some of whom are appointed, some of whom are not, are obviously quite aware of what's happening. And this is a deliberate attempt to overturn the election results. This is not just about creating permanent hostile conditions between the United States and Russia and making it very difficult for President Trump to overcome this hostility and negotiate an end to this war. This is something much worse, Dan. You know, I don't think it fits the definition, the textual definition of treason. But let's stop and consider for a minute. This is pretty damn close
Yeah.
because they've elected a new president. The will of the American people has been signaled clearly, unambiguously. They don't want a war with Russia. They haven't signed on for it. In fact, I don't know of Americans anywhere outside the Beltway who want war with anyone. So this is now very dangerous, and the Russians may feel compelled to respond. But let's stop and also see what happened. We fired 6 Army Tactical Missile System missiles. I don't know how many of those we've even gotten left right now. I mean, our inventory is so low. But of those 6, 5 were shot down. I guess the 6th one was damaged. It fell to the ground and started a fire, but it did not damage the target, which was to the north and a little west of Moscow. So there were no injuries, and as far as we know, no Russians were killed. But Putin has already, as you say, made it very, very clear what he would not tolerate, except that in the wording of the statement that he gave was, if Russia and Belarusia or White Russia faced an attack of overwhelming conventional power, conventional missiles, conventional strikes of some kind, or conventional forces, they reserve the right to use nuclear weapons to respond. But I think this is the biggest issue right now, immediately. This is probably going to trigger the destruction of what remains of Ukraine. Over the weekend, they annihilated the Western power grid. That means that everybody, as the winter approaches in Ukraine, is going to share equally in freezing. And this is not going to be something easy to deal with. Remember, this state's population has been reduced from almost 40 million down to, we think, something like 18 million.
Oh my goodness.
So Ukraine is dying. And in the midst of its death or near death, we're actually making it worse. We're promoting the destruction of Ukraine, which is a humanitarian catastrophe on top of everything else, simply because they're unhappy that Trump won the election and they want war. The so-called military-industrial congressional complex is very interested in continuing to enrich themselves. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
But I don't think they actually believe that a nuclear strike could happen. I think they have, from the very beginning, they have grossly underestimated Russia. They said the Russian military was incompetent. It was too small, too incapable to do anything. And we've seen this relatively small Russian army metastasize into probably the most deadly army in the world right now, along with an arsenal of missiles and rockets that dwarfs anything else on the planet.